Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time for Broad Stipe. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, PayPal's usually the best bet. Or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Queen of the Damned. So, it's based on a book that even Anne Rice didn't like the movie and said they should not have done it. Because number one, it's related to Interview with the Vampire, where Tom Cruise played Lestat, the vampire. And that was a decent enough hit, so I guess eventually the studio wanted to do another film, somehow involving that. And Anne Rice said, well, not sure people want an adaptation of that book, they don't want this other book. But then she didn't even have a say in it. The studio owned it, and also apparently they had another script, and they just put the title on it. Because if you like the book, apparently this is not much of anything to do with that book. Because here, Lestat is awakened by music, new metal music. This is 2002. And so Lestat is awakened by music and decides to have a band. My children, my band. And then he becomes the lead singer. I thought his voice, the singing voice sounded familiar, and someone had to tell me, oh, that's Jonathan Davis from Korn. I'm like, it does sound like Korn. Okay, that's why. Just like, is this not Nine Inch Nails or Marilyn Manson? Oh, it's Jonathan Davis of Korn. And I'm sitting there going, it's such a weird setup for this. Maybe if it was like a more of a comedy horror film, like My Best Friend is a Vampire type of tone. But I'm supposed to be taking this seriously, which is a failure. And the guy who plays Lestat, I did not like him at all. He definitely did not have the... I mean, I don't mind Interview with the Vampire. I thought Tom Cruise did a pretty good job. This guy, Stuart Townsend, I did not give a rat's ass about him or his performance, to be perfectly honest. I thought he looked like an emo boy. The character did. He didn't look tough or intimidating. I don't think he had much charisma. He was Dorian Gray and the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He was in Aeon Flux, the movie. So pretty much he did a lot of films that really no one cared about. So, sorry, Stuart Townsend. And the director, I don't even know what the director has done. In Too Deep. I guess he worked on the reboot of Battlestar Galactica. Some film called Perfume from 2001. I guess Jeff Goldblum was in it. Whatever. So, Stuart Townsend, not a fan of him. Didn't really care for him. The idea I thought was really silly. The other characters, there's this girl named Jessie that works for the Center for Paranormal Studies, and she is such a dead, flat-tone persona and acting. She's more of a corpse than the vampires themselves. She just... no emotion, no exhilaration. Whether it was the way she was directed, whether it was the script, or whether it was the acting, or all three of them. It's sucked ass, her acting. Sucked ass. Sucked, pun intended. And just a lot of weird choices. Like when the vampires move to show their speed, they do this goofy blur effect that made me think of the $6 Million Man. So anytime a vampire moved, I was ready for... Someone need do an edit and do the $6 Million Man sound effect. You didn't need that. You didn't need the blur effect. Just have them here. They move, then all of a sudden they're here. Just do it by editing. Maybe sound. The blur effect makes it look more, quote, the word cheesy. And I rarely use the word cheesy because I do think it's an overused word, but it fits in this category. Then it shows a bit of Lestat, like how he was first turned by this guy named Marius. At one point he played a violin and it started to awaken the first vampire, the Queen of the Damned, Aaliyah. And of course, that's the big thing with the film. It was Aaliyah's last film. She was a singer. She was in a couple films, including Romeo Must Die with Jet Li. But this was the last film she was a part of. Even has a rest in peace to her title card at the end. I don't mind Aaliyah in it, but she's not in it that much because she doesn't pop in until like 51 minutes in the movie. She's on the cover. That's how they sold it, because it's Aaliyah's last film. She's right there on the cover, and she's not in it until 51 minutes in the movie. I mean, it's kind of stupid that the title of your movie doesn't show up till over 50 minutes in the movie. And it's the title of the movie. I think that's a bit weird. Just like this one bit where, as Stuart Townsend, as Lestat is more of this rock star with his band, you think you don't get more info on the band because that's the first people he meets? No, they're very much background. You never know anything else about the band. Nothing else. You think that'd be okay? How do you feel about this guy who seems like a vampire? Do you, I mean, he did this stuff, but do you think he is? Or maybe you think he's some kind of like flamboyant, like magician type of, as part of his act? Whatever the case may be. No, you don't get nothing from the band. They try to have this love story between Lestat and Jessie. I have no idea why Lestat likes this Jessie girl. Jessie's girl. No, Jessie is the girl at this point. Why does Lestat have such a fascination for Jessie? Is he perfectly fine with chomping on these ladies and chomping on this lady? But at the same time, it's almost as if he has some kind of moral quandary to save her from herself. Because she's like, turn to me and let me know how it's like. And it's like, oh yeah, you want to know? And then he feeds on her girl. If you're with us, you'd have to feed. So it's like he's gung-ho about it, but then with her, it's the tragedy of it. I am damned. I'm like, no, you were perfectly fine with getting these girls, and you didn't seem that heartbroken in those moments, chomping on them. So I don't think if he was meant to feel a type of sorrow that he has to do this, I don't think they accomplished that well. And just weird choices. Like, Marius comes back because he's telling Lestat, hey, you publicly let people know that vampires exist. Maybe a lot of people won't believe you. They think it's part of an act, but still, you're telling them to come out of the woodwork. They don't like it because vampires are supposed to be secretive, so they don't be coming for you. But he's having this, at one point in the movie, they're having this conversation in front of a billboard of Lestat and the band. But they're talking right by the guy's crotch. So imagine a billboard and Lestat, but there's his crotch. And the two of them are talking, and the crotch is right behind them in the background. Either, if that was meant for something, I don't know what it was meant for, or they were so stupid they didn't realize what they were doing. I don't know. I do not know. I really don't. Jesus. So, crying out loud. So what happens is, he just popped up with the band, this whole thing with Jessie. I forget what the one actor's name, Paul Medan. He's also a guy that works for the paranormal studies. He might as well not have been in the movie. He has a couple words to say to the Jessie girl. Let me get the actor's name. Yeah, Paul Medan as David Talbot. Paul Medan. He was in Alien 3. If you remember Alien 3, the prisoner that in the work print cut, he thought the alien was a demon and let the alien go when they captured it at one point in the work print. In the theatrical, he's just the guy that's steered in the hospital ward and is watching when Charles Dance gets killed. And Paul McGann has the blood on him. Apparently, David Talbot is fairly popular in these novels, but he has nothing to do in this movie. Nothing to do in this film. He has a couple words here, a couple words there. He has really no importance to the plot or the story. He has a scene at the end. You get a sense that maybe him and this guy Marius have some type of history with each other, but you don't really get any of that. You don't find out any of that. You don't get any insight into any of that. I guess unless if you read the novels, but it's like, hey, that character's in the book, so put him in the movie. I've never read the book, so I don't know who the hell this character is. And after watching this film, still don't know much who this character is. So like I said, you have the opening, you have the backstory of Lestat, you have Jessie wanted, she's so entranced to this vampire lifestyle and this love story that I didn't buy. And then again, 51 minutes into Aaliyah comes in. And so there's a lot of people that don't like her performance. I think she did fine. Like, she comes in, the way she's dressed, like an Egyptian. She's sultry, she's wiggling her hips. She's a beautiful looking lady. She seems very free and easygoing in this club. And she's so powerful, she could just do one touch and make vampires implode into fireballs. And she does that. She makes a lot of these vampires become burnt marshmallows. Burns down the club. Before I go on, one of the only things I'll give positively to this film is I liked some of the soundtrack. But I like this type of music. I don't mind Korn. So Jonathan Davis singing these songs is a plus. Down with the Sickness, that pops up because there's a point where they have a concert at Death Valley. It's funny, the wide shot always remind me of trying to be like Blade Runner, because there's a crowd, but then you have like these, remember the wide shots in Blade Runner when you had the kind of stacks and you had that fire? You see that amongst this crowd, but these pillars like, I can't think I was going to hear Vangelis, but it's, are you down with the sickness? Come on, are you down with the sickness? I'm like, is this band here at this concert? So during the concert, vampires fight Lestat. He bows them off. Marius comes by to help out. Then the Queen of the Damned takes Lestat, entrances him. They have a lot of sex. Although if I'm having a lot of sex with Aaliyah, I would probably do the same thing as he did. Yes, ma'am. What you want me to do? I'd probably be her slave too, so I don't blame him. So the two of them go to this council of ancient vampires. I guess one of them is related to Jessie. Like her aunt or whatever, whoever she was. So pretty much those vampires want to still stay in secret. The Queen of the Damned says, me and my new butt boy, we're going to take over. Okay. So Lestat is told to feed on Jessie. He does it. But then, I guess in the middle of it, he feels guilty. Which again, I'm sitting there going, you're fine with eating these other ladies. And not the good eating, but the other eating. But for some reason, you fell in love with this girl and you're entranced with it, and I don't get it. I didn't see the connection. I didn't see the love connection. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see the chemistry. So that fell supremely flat. But then he kind of wakes up and starts feeding on her. She's like, that's enough. And after you fed on her, he starts feeding on the Queen of the Damned. After giving you a little bit of my power, hey, that's enough. I guess the more you bite and suck up her blood, the less power she has. So the ending is people doing blur effects, grabbing her, and she'll burn some, but then they keep grabbing and sucking on her. So it's not an action scene, it's not a fight scene, it's literally her in the same spot. You think she would like throw them off and fly away, or throw them off and try to fly away. Some could argue, well, she losing her power, but she could throw them off, and she's so busy trying to burn them, fly away, get to a higher state, just fly away and recuperate your powers, and then when you're done then burn everything, burn everybody. Oh, I almost forgot. Backtrack on in the concert when Lestat and Maris are fighting the vampires. They try to do moves like the Matrix. So like they're trying to do flips. There's a bit where Lestat he does one of those wire work flips where you're on the side and you're like flipping like this. Or they're doing like bat flips and stuff. I'm like, that was trying to be the Matrix. I mean, the Matrix had come out a few years before this, and every film wanted to be the Matrix at that point, including its fight scenes. So even this had to do that. So yeah, by the end, they bite the hell out of Aaliyah, and the one related to Jesse has the last drop, and if you get the last drop, then, which is weird, like, all you people have a bit of her blood in you, but if you get the last drop, then you're the Queen of the Damned. So she becomes a statue, Aaliyah dies, then Lestat and Jesse, now that she's a vampire, she says goodbye to Paul McGann's character, and the two of them leave. And I guess Lestat lived happily ever after? Lestat in this, I don't see at all a similar character compared to Tom Cruise's character in Interview with a Vampire. I don't see any similarity. I don't see any connection to that. The Queen of the Damned plot feels very much in the background. The love story between Lestat and Jessie, forgot her damn name, is so flat. Her performance is so, again, flat, dull, dead type of performance. No exhilaration, no connection, no chemistry. The few bits of vampire action, it's ridiculous with the blur effects. So many times I'm watching these people in clubs, I'm waiting for Blade to come in and kill everybody. I'm like, can Blade come in? If Blade came in, he could fix everything in 5 minutes and kill all these vampires in 5 minutes. I like some pieces of the soundtrack. It was nice to see Aaliyah, who's a beautiful lady. I think for what little she was given, she tried to do the best she can. But it's hard to turn chicken salad, get it out of chicken shit. Yeah, this is a awful movie, man. I know I wrote something on Facebook, and I think the thing what did I write on Facebook? This is before I knew who was singing the song. I mean, who was doing the singing. This is before I realized it was Jonathan Davis. I said something to the fact of, so a vampire wakes up because of new metal music, overtakes a band who can't act for shit, and starts singing like he's 9 Inch Nails in order to become a music star. What am I getting myself into? Oh, I should have used Korn. Be the comparison, not 9 Inch Nails. I mean, that setup, it seems like it'd be a comedy. Or if it's going to be, then it's got to be like some type of entertaining. I almost want to say this takes itself too seriously. I almost want to say that. This isn't for me. I'll put it that way. But I guess it wasn't really for much of anybody. It's not really that beloved of a movie. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.